Perfect. So in today's Inner Circle, we're going to be going over the story of Nancy. We're going to be going over a case study. And, these case studies, they bring inspiration. They help you see that you too can heal. And I love case studies. If you love the case studies when we share them, raise your hand. I want to know, because we have so many of these that we can share. And I've actually started talking to some of the clients, and some of them are going to start getting on with me, and we'll present their case study together. And then they want to share with you their story and how they have overcome, whatever symptoms, conditions, and diseases that they came to us with. And so today we're going to be sharing Nancy's remarkable journey and how she overcame some pretty significant type 2 diabetes. So Nancy is currently age 69. When she came to us a couple of years ago, she was struggling with a multitude of symptoms, which I'm getting ready to show you. But amongst her symptoms and conditions, she had type 2 diabetes. Now, when I say she had type 2 diabetes, we're talking 12.9 hemoglobin A1C. The hemoglobin A1C is one of the markers that we use, that the medical model uses to diagnose diabetes, and anything over 5.7 is considered diabetes. She was twice that at 12.9. It was pretty significant. If you go to our testimonials page on our website at modernholistichealth.com, we have a testimonial page with hundreds of testimonials. I copied this straight from our testimonials page when I was putting this together. And this is Nancy just talking about, how she had been following us, and she decided to make an appointment. She got to talk to Anne for her first appointment, and she decided to go ahead and start working with us. And by the end of the year, of her first year with us, she says, I was so surprised by what I had accomplished under the guidance of my coaches, including Anne and Rosita. And I've learned so much and have made so many changes, all working towards healing her gut. And she's working on her thyroid as well, and a few other things. And she says her major improvement was bringing her A1C down from 12.9 down to the 5.5 to 5.8 range without drugs. And so this is what we're going to be celebrating tonight. Very, very exciting. Her biggest takeaway, she says, this year is that she doesn't have to do it perfectly to see the results. She just needs to do it, and she needs to be consistent with it. And she says that her practitioners here with us at Modern Holistic Health have always been there guiding her with patience and love and giving her security and knowing that she can do this. And so I'm very excited about that. Let's take a look at Nancy's symptom sheet. So if we take a look at her symptom sheet, you can see that she had a multitude of different symptoms. So she did log in her 30-day blood sugar averages each month. But in addition to that, she also put down a lot of other issues that she was having, including pretty severe gut issues with constipation, a lot of frequent urination, trouble staying asleep, trouble falling asleep. She had these terrible rashes on various parts of her body, a lot of belching, a lot of temperature dysregulation, a lot of swelling in her feet and her ankles and in her hands and her fingers. She had a lot of issues with her hair falling out, in addition to a few other things. And you can see here that when she first started with us, her symptom sheet was almost all in the reds and oranges, meaning that all of her symptoms were mostly 8s, 9s, and 10s. They were the worst that they could be in the rating system that we use, with 10 being the worst and 0 meaning no more symptoms. And you can see over time how her symptoms just went away. All of her issues went away. And I'm going to show you what Nancy did with us to help her heal herself of not only the diabetes, the type 2 diabetes, but also of all of these other symptoms and conditions that she had been struggling with. Now, if you've been following us for any length of time, then you're probably already familiar with with our approach, where we like to look at all the root causes. We want to look under the hood. We want to see what's going on. And I have taught you in my 5-part series, in all of them, the inflammation masterclass, beyond the pill, mental health masterclass, your brain and mental health, our mastering trauma masterclass. We have some amazing series out there where we show a lot of case studies and we show the statistics that we've been finding. The number one commonality that we find amongst everyone, no matter what symptom, condition, or disease they have, is that they always have more than one root cause. Raise your hand if you've heard me say that before. It's so important, if you want to learn how to heal yourself, that you learn some of these basic statistics. If you've heard me say that there's more than one root cause, raise your hand. Perfect. Thank you. You've been paying attention. So just as was the case with Nancy, she had a few root causes, a few. One of them being some unresolved emotional trauma that she needed to work on, and she was ready to work on. Another one was environmental chemical toxins. She also had some of those. And I'm going to show you in this case study today how some of those, even if they're not high, they don't have to be super high, like off the charts high toxicity in your body to cause an issue. There are many toxins that are directly known to cause metabolic issues, blood sugar dysregulation, type 2 diabetes, and multiple other issues. And I'm going to be showing you that today. We also discovered wheat sensitivity as well. Now, we had been suspecting that for some time, and we did the wheat sensitivity earlier in this year, long after she was able to reverse her type 2 diabetes. But I wanted to bring this up because we had wanted her to do it sooner. And the reason why is because big sensitivities to wheat or different components of gluten can be the great mimickers of over 300 symptoms, conditions, and diseases. It can exacerbate and mimic even MS. It can exacerbate and mimic severe depressive disorder. It can exacerbate or mimic anxiety and schizophrenia and various autoimmune types of diseases, right? And so we had suspected that she had it, even though she hadn't tested until earlier this year. She agreed to go completely off gluten. And we can now see after the fact that, yes, that was also one of the contributing factors of her issues that she had with diabetes and some of the other things that she is now working on. So when her labs came back, you can see here that she had a lot of toxins in her body. She had one that was at a very high level and others that were at the moderate. And I always tell people, don't discount something that is at a moderate level in your body, because if you add up a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and a little bit of the other, it's going to add up to a lot of toxins in your body. Does that make sense? Raise your hand if that does. It absolutely will add to the toxic load in your body. And she had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. She had 8 toxins that showed up in her body. You can see her before and after results. There's only one listed on here that looks slightly higher than the original, and that was thallium. And she needs to figure out where she's getting exposed to thallium. Otherwise, it would be showing lower. Everything else is showing lower than it was previously. So she's been able to work on that. And, you know, some people, they don't have the ability to pick up and move. And so sometimes they're getting exposed in their water and in their air. I just spoke with a woman last week who was a nurse for many years, working in ICU. She worked in the neonatal unit. She worked, she's a very, very experienced nurse. And she retired from nursing to go into full-time farmer's wife. She's farming, and she's either in North or South Dakota. I don't remember where. And she is an example of someone who their livelihood is farming, and she knows she's being exposed, and she knows how dangerous this stuff is, all the different toxins. And we had a very frank discussion that, it's very likely we're never going to get all of it out. However, if we can keep it coming out, she's not going to keep building it up to the point where she literally dies from the toxins. Does that make sense? And so whenever we're looking at the results, we also take into consideration, where are you living? Sometimes people don't have the opportunity to be able to move and get away from their toxic environment. And regardless of that, if you can open up the detox pathways and just understand that if you are in a position like that, that you just need to detox for the rest of your life, which really all of us do. We're almost at a point with the planet that I could almost safely say that no matter where you live on the planet, you should be detoxifying all the time. And you may not need to do super deep detoxification after you do the initial deep detoxification, but you need to stay on a light dose of detoxification for the rest of your life. And our kids need to be on it too. I have my grandchildren taking our TCG, our flagship product in our product line from A1C, the TCG activation, because it's constantly helping to pull toxins out of the kiddos' bodies, no matter what they get into. So coming back here, I grabbed just a couple of the toxins. We don't have time to go through all of them. That would take up the entire hour. But I grabbed some of the toxins to show you how they were directly related to exacerbating or even being the main root cause of the diabetes that she was struggling with. BPA is pretty bad stuff. It's found everywhere in our environment. It's in our water. It's in our air. Almost all humans and animals around the planet now have detectable levels of BPA in their body. It doesn't go away in the environment. It persists in the environment. It just breaks down into smaller and smaller and smaller pieces. It comes from the family of plastics. And BPA is known to cause a lot of problems in the body, from osteoporosis, because it starts causing issues with your ability to utilize calcium, all the way to type 2 diabetes, infertility, weight gain, early onset of puberty, different kinds of mammary gland, like breast cancers, cardiovascular events, all kinds of different issues. But it also causes diabetes, right? And one of the main conclusions drawn from this review from Biomedicines is that BPA is capable of disrupting the endocrine system, which is your hormone system, producing effects that are very similar to those of metabolic syndrome, such as elevated triglyceride levels and insulin resistance. And insulin resistance is what happens that drives you into the disease called type 2 diabetes. Now, triclosan was another one that was found in her body. And I put this on here because I've got so many stories I could tell you about finding triclosan in people's bodies. It was found in, or it was being used in medical soaps. So all the doctors, when they were scrubbing in the OR, when they would be scrubbing and getting ready, they would use triclosan. If they were in their offices going from patient to patient, room to room, and in between they're washing their hands, this used to be the soap of choice for all the doctors, including my father, who was also a physician. And I used to work with him when I was younger. And that was always the soap that we always used in all of the clinics. And we were washing our hands. We were scrubbing with this all the time. In fact, we thought it was so great. We were using it in our homes. And eventually, Procter & Gamble and all of the big companies out there that make a lot of the household, hand sanitizers and soaps that many of us used to use. Hopefully you're not still using those. They started adding the triclosan in there as well. And triclosan is so toxic and so dangerous that they banned it in the United States in 2016. I believe it's still being used because we're still finding it in people's bodies. And in some people, we're finding it in very high levels. Case in point, there was a dentist who I saw a couple of years ago up in the Boston area who started having tremors, Parkinson's-like tremors. We got his labs back, and he had some of the highest levels of triclosan I've ever seen. He's a dentist washing his hands with the soaps that still have it, even though they're not supposed to. They're probably calling it something different. And it's known to cause Parkinson's disease. It is a known neurotoxin. It is highly toxic to your brain and your nerve cells. In addition to that, It's also known to induce non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. It starts to cause dysregulation of your glucose metabolism, think type 2 diabetes. It also starts to affect your energy balance, and a lot of other issues. And so I wanted to put this in here so that you could see that, while she didn't have super high levels, it doesn't matter. She had a lot of moderate levels, correct? And triclosan is known to cause issues leading to the exact issues that she is having, that Nancy's having. Here was another chemical that she had at a pretty high level on her labs, and it's abbreviated NACE, and it is in the family of acrylonitrile, and it's very, very toxic. It's carcinogenic, meaning that it's cancer causing, and it can lead to mutations in critical genes. And I put this in here because while it may not directly be associated, right, with diabetes, look how toxic this is. And we find this in a lot of people's bodies, actually. Now, let's move on. In addition to the environmental chemical toxins, we had told you, and I mentioned this earlier, that we had suspected a gluten sensitivity with her. Now, we already knew that she had leaky gut because in the toxin bundle that we like to order for our clients, we also include an organic acids test, and that can show us patterns of leaky gut. And we had done blood work with her, which also showed patterns of leaky gut. But when we finally got the gut zoomer and the wheat zoomer back in like February, March of this year, we were able to confirm that she does in fact have very high sensitivity to gluten, where it's causing different parts of her immune system to go on the attack. We call that upregulation. It's going on the attack. And in the process, it's causing collateral damage in the process, causing more inflammation in her body, more inflammation in her small intestine, leading to rashes, which she had. These different immune responses that are showing up. And I didn't put all of them. It would have taken 3 or 4 slides, but these different immune reactions that she's having every time the different components of wheat enter her body and leak out through her gut and get into her bloodstream, her body's mounting an attack response, and it's creating this collateral damage. And so, this was also able to show us that she was still getting gluten contamination, even after all the months of going gluten-free. So now she is in Anne's gluten freedom course that we have. I'll talk about that later. And she is, she's really learning how to live the gluten-free lifestyle so that she doesn't get glutened or get contaminated with gluten, because it was causing a lot of this other symptoms and issues and conditions that she was having, even outside of the type 2 diabetes. But it's also important to remember that gluten is a great mimicker of many different symptoms and conditions, 300 to be exact, including causing diabetes, right? So it's just so important for us to understand that. Now, this is where we can all celebrate. So when Nancy started working with us, yes, we made some more additional fine-tuning tweaks to her diet. Her diet wasn't horrible, but we did need to do some fine-tuning, including getting her off gluten because we suspected it. We suspected that to be an issue. And we also started having her work with our trauma release and emotional healing team to actually do that work too, because if you have emotions and trauma and you have conflicts that you have not resolved that you're living with, that can be just as toxic as the chemicals. It can be just as toxic as the mold, right? It can be just as toxic as wheat or gluten. And so she understood that, and she started working with all of our team. She did a life team approach with us. We have some amazing programs, and she did a program with us. In addition to that, she knew that she needed more dialed in, personalized work because of her different symptoms, conditions, and diagnosed diseases. And so we put a life team together for her. And she had a team not only working on her mindset and her unresolved emotions and unresolved conflicts and unresolved trauma, but she had a team working with her on lifestyle, nutrition, and her biology and her neurology, putting her on very highly specific protocols and plans of action. And you can see what the results were. Take a look. This was in April of 2022. Less than 7 months after she started with us, her hemoglobin A1C went from 12.7 to 5.4. That is a double high five. And I invite all of you to celebrate with Nancy, celebrate with her. This is huge because her doctor was never going to tell her that she would be able to do this without medication. And I'm here to tell you that you can do it without medication. Very, very, very few cases have we seen over the years where the person did need medication. And even when they did, we were able to get the amount of their medication down to a fraction of what they were taking before. And that's only happened twice in almost 10 years. So we're sending praises to Nancy, praises to our creator for helping giving us the knowledge and the skill set to be able to teach people like Nancy and you how she can heal herself, because she deserves to know how to do this. Don't you agree? She deserves to know this. And with her medical doctor, they were never telling her that she could reverse this and heal this on her own. And here's just another quick snapshot of her symptom sheet. Take a look at that. That's pretty amazing. You can have this too. It's your time to heal. I love this quote. I love this quote. Our greatest power to create our healing and the reality that we desire lies in this fertile place between where we pause, observe, and then pivot to go into a new direction. The subtle space is where we can disrupt the patterns and break the cycle of suffering and sickness and choose to build something new from the ground up by going in a new direction. Right. And that's what we're doing at Modern Holistic Health. We are changing the paradigm of medicine. We are leading this change. Come and join us, be a part of our mission, be a part of what we're doing. And if you need help with your health, jump on board and let us show you how you can get the same results. There is a trilogy when it comes to autoimmune diseases and every other chronic disease out there. And the trilogy is, what is our immune system doing? What are our genes doing? And what is our environment doing? And the good news is that you have control over every single one of these areas in your life. You have control over your environment for the most part. And for the little things that you don't have control over, right? If you can't move out of your area, you will at least learn how to detox so that you can keep your body from building up and accumulating so much of a toxic load that your body ends up getting a horrible disease or a horrible cancer or whatever, right? You do have control over your environment in your house. Get the air doctors, get the water filters. Those are the first two things that we tell everybody that they need to do, right? I mean, do that. You've got to have clean air and you have to have clean water, and we shouldn't have to pay for it. But right now we're having to pay for it. And until we all can come together, and as we continue to rise up and change these paradigms and expose all of the corruption, then we're going to have to keep paying for clean water and clean air. But if we can take care of this, and I fully believe that we're here right now in this time on this planet right here, right now, so that we can be a part of creating the change, so that our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren don't have to pay for clean water and clean air and clean, healthy food. If we have those things, we're going to have a different trajectory, the statistics of us being the sickest nation on the planet and our planet being the sickest that it's ever been, it's gonna change, right? But we have to keep moving forward together. We have to stick together, and we got to bring our friends in. We got to teach our friends and our family about all of this type of work. The new paradigm of medicine lies in being focused on root cause medicine, right? We're looking at the root causes that are rooted in thoughts, beliefs, our environment, which includes our air, our water, our food, our relationship to ourselves and others, our habits, eating clean, all of those things, our lifestyle habits, because all of those things determine our epigenetic influences, and our genetics are one of the things that sends information to our body to tell our body what to do, to tell our cells, tissues, and organs what to do. The old model of medicine, the broken one, that does serve a purpose. And you always hear me say that it always serves a purpose, right? Like, modern medicine has its place, but not when it comes to prevention and treatment of chronic illnesses. They have failed in that area because they do symptom management only, right? You can see when a person is creeping in the direction of developing type 2 diabetes. You can see it before it happens, but they never tell you anything. They wait until one day you do your annual labs. Whoops, ooh, you're type 2 diabetic. Let's put you on some metformin. Or if it's bad enough, some metformin and some insulin. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. That's why our model has failed. Symptom management is not the way to prevent and reverse and cure all of these chronic illnesses. And a pill for everything certainly isn't the answer either. All it does is lead to very, very costly disability management. Genetics and environment. I mentioned that we have control over all of these things. And it's just, I want to show you again with a different visual. You have the control. You have the keys to your healing. You have that. You just don't have the operations manual because we weren't born with that, right? The operations manual that we were given has led us to where we are today, with more chronic illnesses than we've ever seen, at a higher rate than we've ever seen, higher rates of costly disability than we have ever seen. And that's all because we weren't taught how to drive the Ferrari. We were taught how to drive a Prius, right? We don't know the operations manual for a high performance body, for a high performance human experience. We're taught that eating bread with every meal, or 5 to 7 servings of grains with every meal is what we should do, right? Like we're taught the worst habits that we could ever have. And we give our kids crap for food at school, and we expect them to be able to focus. These kids eat that, the school food, and they're having all these sensitivities, and they're eating nothing but just simple carbs and just crap. It's all processed. And then they can't focus at school. So then the teacher comes home and tells the mom, well, I think your kid has ADD. And instead of the doctor, understanding, having the training or even the know-how to realize that it's the food that's causing the ADD in that child, they just do a simple test and go, oh, yep, they have ADD. Here, put them on this medicine. And then they have a plethora of other issues for the rest of their lives, from infertility to weight issues, mental health issues, all secondary to the Ritalin or the Adderall that their doctor put them on when they were 7 years old. You have control. You just need to be given the operations manual. And that's what we do at Modern Holistic Health. We teach you your operations manual for healing, health, and vitality. Here are some of the pre-symptoms of chronic disease and autoimmune disease. If any of those are you, please know that if you continue on waiting for the symptoms to get worse, this is one of the biggest mistakes that people make. They too wait too long. They might think, oh, it's just age, or I'm stressed, or I've just got too much going on, so I'm just going to do some symptom management. I'll just take this laxative tea because I'm having constipation. I'll just take some, Tums because I've got a little bit of heartburn. I'll just take some NyQuil so I can sleep at night, and I'll take some Red Bull so I can wake up in the morning and keep going, or drink 3 or 4 cups of coffee during the day, right? That's symptom management. Pharmaceuticals are symptom management, right? But these symptoms and more that I didn't list, these are some of the biggest indicators that something bigger is coming down the road, and you better take care of it now, because you're either going to pay for it now or you're going to pay for it way bigger later on. And not just with dollars, right? Not just with money, but with the loss of quality of life that you've had, and the loss of quality of life that your family has had having to deal with you, right? It just happens that way. So if you haven't started yet on putting yourself first, I invite you to put yourself first. If you're not already working with us and you're looking for help, you can stop your cycle of suffering. You can live life on your terms. You can get your health back. All of you who are with us, who have been with us long enough already, probably more than 3 months, who are seeing changes and results, raise your hands. I want you to raise your hands so that the people who are here tonight can see that. This is a really, really big deal. We have proven solutions for you. And you too can have the same results that you see in all of our case studies, the same results that Nancy has had. And if you want more inspiration, check out our community of others healing together. Check out our testimonials page. Go to modernholistichealth.com and check out our testimonials page. We've got so many testimonials on there, and it's heartwarming and it's inspiring. And if you're in a place of sickness and you're looking for answers, and you feel like you're not even sure if you can heal, the first step is for you to have at least a little bit of faith that you can, right? What does the Bible say? Have faith even as little as a grain of a mustard seed, right? You have to believe that you can. Reading these stories will give you inspiration that you too can heal, and you will find your healing. It takes consistency and it takes time. There's no magic pill. And you're going to have to do it like your life depends on it, because your life does depend on it. But aren't you worth it? Yeah, you're worth it. Heck yeah, you're worth it. You came here for a purpose, and you've got a purpose to fulfill, right? And you can do it living the life experience that you want. So check out our testimonials page at modernholistichealth.com. Get some more inspiration. If you are wanting to work with us, believe it or not, we have people asking us every day, and they'll send us an email, but they didn't go to the website. I'm not sure what's going on there. They're like, how do I make an appointment? And so you can just go to the website and you can do it. Everything we do is online, Zoom calls, right? And you can do it from the comfort of your home, no matter where you live. And that makes it beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful that way. You can do it from the comfort of your own home. You can go to our website. Again, you see our testimonials there. You can go schedule an appointment there as well. And I encourage you, take that first step, change your life. We also have our Mind, Body, Energy program, which many of you are in. I think many of you are newbies. Raise your hand if you're newbies with us. You've been with us 3 months or less. I think a lot of you who are here today, I know we have a few veterans with us, but we have a few new ones. You can get in and join our Mind, Body, Energy program. This is our way of bringing costs down. And we have found that 90% of our clients, over 90%, have some pretty amazing improvements in their health just by following our process with our group coaching, even if you can't afford to do labs. If you have a lot of problems, however, we encourage you to do the labs, invest in yourself, move mountains for yourself, do what you need to do so that you can get a more targeted approach for yourself. But we do have our Mind Body Energy program. It's absolutely amazing. It's basically 2 programs in one. This program, we had our clients paying over $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 for this only about 2 years ago. And right now you can get it for around $379 a month. We do have occasional sales on that, but the price is around $379 a month. And so it's a pretty good value. You also get discounts on labs. You get discounts on supplements. And so I just wanted to mention that as well. And unlike many of our inner circles that end up taking us quite a bit of time, we actually finished this one early. And so I want to open it up to any questions that you have. If you want to pop them in the Q&A, and Tara, if you want to moderate for me, that would be amazing. If you want to kind of read those out, and then I can help answer.
I will do that. I'll also wanted to let everyone know that I did put some links for air filters and water filters in the chat messages that we recommend. We have the Air Doctor in there, the Aqua True, and the Berkey. They just have links, so it's quick and easy just to grab and click on them and shop. So wanted to let everyone know.
Yeah, right, and now, those are, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, right now we don't have any Q&As. We don't have any questions right now.
No questions. That's awesome. We have, so these links that we're providing for you, and Tara, remind me so that we can put them in the comment section when we post this up to our YouTube page. That's another place. How many of you have been to our YouTube page? Raise your hand if you've been to our YouTube page. We have amazing resources for you. Go to YouTube and then type in Modern Holistic Health. If you want some free resources, you want to see more case studies, and you want to learn more for everything from lab interpretation on different kinds of labs, I mean, all protocols, all kinds of things, go to our YouTube page at Modern Holistic Health on YouTube and check us out. Now, these links that we put in for you, we negotiated with these companies to get you discounts. We used to only offer these to our clients. We're offering them to everyone. I don't know why we were doing that. I guess we were just focused on the clients and forgetting to tell everyone else. But now you know, so take advantage. And if you need to order a water filtration system or an air doctor, to go for it, because you're going to save some good money there. Kathy's asking, how about helping with PCOS and weight issues and blood sugar? So the blood sugar issues is what happens. That's what precedes, that's what comes before type 2 diabetes. So, and you saw the case study. And I showed another one in the Inner Circle call 2 weeks ago that's posted up on YouTube. So if you didn't see that one, check that one out. There were 2 in a row that were type 2 diabetes case studies with different root causes. Now with the PCOS and the weight issues, absolutely we can help you with that. I would be so curious to see what toxins you have in your body, and I will bet you that your labs come back showing very high levels of BPA and some other types of plastics that are known endocrine disruptors. They cause your body to produce excess estrogen. And so, yeah, I would love to work with you. My team is here. They're ready to work with you. They can help you. And you definitely will want to do some lab testing, right? And where do you start? Start by making an appointment. Go to the website at Modern Holistic Health, schedule an appointment as a new client with a biological coach. And then she'll be able to assess all the forms that you fill out, go through your history with you, and then make some recommendations, because this is the thing. We're not going to throw everything in the kitchen sink at it and just like throwing darts at a wall blindfolded and hoping that something works. That's what a lot of doctors out there do. They're like, well, but they can't afford all the testing. Well, they're spending more money on supplements that aren't working than they are on getting a very dialed in protocol. Spend the money on the testing, get a dialed in protocol that you know is going to work, and get with a doctor who knows how quickly that they can make the changes. Because like with us, if we find something on labs on your blood work, for example, that we know we can change quickly, like hypothyroid or Hashimoto's antibodies going crazy, or you've got too much estrogen in your body that's not allowing you to lose weight or whatever, we know we can change those things in 60 to 90 days. We know we can drop cholesterol levels up to 80 points in 30 days. And so you better believe it that we're going to be telling you, we're going to put you on this plan of action. Let's do this 90-day or 120-day sprint or this 30-day sprint, and we're going to retest these markers. We're going to retest the estrogen. We're going to retest the antibodies. We're going to retest whatever it is, the cholesterol, the hypothyroid. We're going to retest it because we know that we can make a change really fast. And we're not going to waste your time with a bunch of visits over years. I don't want you as a lifetime client. We have people who stay with us for wellness and for optimization so they can learn, but not because they're still super sick. And so find somebody who can do that for you. Find somebody who is going to retest. Anybody who doesn't even offer to test or they don't retest you, I would be raising an eyebrow to that, right? Because you're going to end up wasting your money on a bunch of supplements and a bunch of visits. Spend the money on getting dialed in on your labs.
So we do have a couple more questions. From Jana's asking, after just having a hypoglycemia event, I was thinking that my body was in fight or flight mode and I was frantically eating, and sometimes it's hard to stop eating, that I don't overeat all the time. How do I overcome the urge to keep eating?
Oh, yes. You know what? Eat. I know that you'll frantically eat when your blood sugar gets too low, but why don't you portion your stuff out ahead of time? Just portion it out so that you just eat and then stop, right? And then ground yourself, go outside and walk a little bit, ground yourself, do some meditation, do some humming. And I know that you're working with Rosita and even possibly Dina soon. We're looking into some peptide therapy too. So those things are going to help. This is the thing, sometimes we just have to dig a little bit deeper, and that's definitely, you're definitely doing the right things, right? And for the portion sizes, I would just try to, pre-prepare your stuff so that you don't overeat. What else do we have next, Tara?
How bad is metformin long-term? I have a husband with type 2 diabetes who is willing to be on it rather than change his diet.
I would say look it up. Look up the side effects of type 2 diabetes, because you can easily find them online. And I could probably look to here too. Let's just take a look really quick. Or not type 2, I'm sorry, the side effects of effects of metformin. And I know some of them, but I don't have them all memorized. You're definitely side effects are of a variety of different GI issues, cough or hoarseness. So when you start developing cough or hoarseness, what's happening with inflammation in this area? What's going on with that? Just super curious about that. Back pain, general feeling of discomfort. Let's take a look here. The less common would be anxiety, blurred vision, more chest discomfort. So they're just minimizing it and calling it, oh, you might have a cough or some discomfort in your chest. What the hell is going on that's causing that? That's going to end up leading to what later on down the road? You're going to end up with throat cancer or lung cancer. What's going to happen there? You end up having inability to regulate your temperature. So that tells me there's something going on with your mitochondria and your metabolism. Oh, coma. They kind of squeezed that one in there. How about difficult or labored breathing? There's a lot of stuff going back to the lungs. Very, very interesting. So if you started doing research on metformin causing various diseases, you might find that, right? I'll bet that you will find that. Slurred speech, seizures, nervousness, increased sweating, shakiness, tightness in chest, unusual fatigue or weakness, behavioral changes, difficulty concentrating, drowsiness. Yeah, it's looks not good to me. And this is the thing, a lot of people, they're not willing to change until all of a sudden they have some sort of a crisis in their life. That's human nature, right? That's human nature. And so what you'll likely see with your husband is that after a while, the dose that he's on no longer works. So then they have to increase the dose. Then at some point, that increased dose will not work. And then they'll have to either increase the dose again or add medication number 2. Right? And then at its worst, he may be on 2 different diabetes meds, plus they'll end up putting him on insulin. Then what happens when he gets older, I've seen this. I've actually seen this many times. What happens then when people get older, if they live to be into their 80s or 90s with diabetes, even on the meds, they'll start having issues where they don't feel their feet anymore. Then they'll start getting ulcers and sores, but they don't notice it. Then they end up getting infected and they become infected with gangrene. And then they have to start amputating toes, parts of the feet, the whole feet. Then they amputate the lower leg. And by that time, people are like, oh my God, I'll do whatever I can. I'll do whatever I can. I don't want to live like this. I'm in all this pain. Well, by then your foot's gone. Good luck with that. I've actually seen that happen with even people in my own family. But back then they didn't know that type 2 diabetes was reversible. I saw my great-grandfather have his toes cut off, then his foot, then his lower leg, then his hand before he finally died. And I've seen this with other people as well. So we want to try to address it before it becomes that kind of suffering, because by then that's going to be hard to manage that. What else do we have?
Wendy has asked, what do you recommend for high glyphosate test results?
Oh, so this is the thing with glyphosate. Okay. Glyphosate has a very short half-life in the body. What does that mean? A short half-life means that it's not staying in your body very long. So if we compare glyphosate, for example, if we compare that to BPC, the plastic, the toxic plastic, that stays in your body. It'll stay in your body your entire life until you get on the proper protocol to get it out. Lead and mercury, they'll stay in your body your entire life until you take the proper protocols to get it out of your body. Glyphosate will not stay in your body. It'll come right out very quickly. In fact, anywhere between 30 to 90 days, the glyphosate that you ingested will come out of your body. So when you see high levels of glyphosate in your body, that tells me that you're putting it in way faster than your body can clear it out. So you need to start doing some investigative work. Go to we have an article. You'll have to look for it in our articles section of our website. And I talk about the toxins in our water. And I have some really great links in there. One of them being to the Environmental Protection Agency, I believe. The Environmental Working Group. And you can go to that link. And from there, you can go and put in your zip code and it will tell you what is in your water. And there may be more things in your water since they last tested, but it'll tell you what's in your water. If you live near a golf course, you're going to have glyphosate in your water and in the air. If you're having your lawn sprayed, or you live in an apartment complex, or you have a HOA that does all the lawn maintenance, they are spraying it. It's contaminated even in our well water now. So well water is no longer clean. 50 years ago, that was the cleanest water around. It's not anymore. It's very likely that you're getting it locally, like right around you every day. You could also be getting it from your food. So you need to spend some time and look at what you're eating. Are you eating organic? Are you drinking almond creamer in your coffee? Almonds have high levels of glyphosate. And so there are some really yummy almond creamers out there. And if they're not organic, which they're not, I haven't found any organic almond creamers on the market yet, they're going to be full of glyphosate. So you need to really look at where you're getting your exposure. And if it's in your municipal water system or in your well water, and you get a Berkey or you get an Aqua True, which is my new favorite, even more so than the Berkey now. You're drinking clean water and you're cooking with clean water, but when you're showering and that glyphosate laden water touches your skin, within 5 seconds, it gets absorbed into your skin and then into your bloodstream. So you just have to figure out where you're getting exposed. Lucky for you, the glyphosate will come out pretty quickly on its own.
And then Kathy asked, she knows that metformin is horrible stuff, but what about insultil? I don't know how to pronounce the pharmaceutical.
I'm not familiar with that one.
Yeah. Okay.
It looks like you were spelling inositol, but I don't think that's what you were spelling. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, but all pharmaceuticals, I'm going to copy this into a search. All pharmaceuticals have side effects. All pharmaceuticals are designed to create 3 or more other symptoms and conditions. And no pharmaceutical is designed to cure anything. And that is in the physician's desk reference. Those are the big books. They're now online, but back in the day, my dad had them. They're those huge books that all the doctors use when they're going to prescribe drugs or if they're looking for something. It's called the PDR. And it said it right there in the PDR. Pharmaceuticals are not intended to cure anything. So yeah, that's what I would say about that. What else do we have?
Yeah, she said it's not a pharmaceutical. She just spelled it wrong, but I'm not sure what she was referring to. So I just, so you can get the correct spelling for us.
Yeah, I know what she's talking about.
Okay.
I know what she's talking about. So inositol, it is a sugar that's made in the body. You can also get it in foods. You can also get it as a supplement. And it crosses the blood-brain barrier and can be used to help with brain function with some people. I have never personally used that to help anyone with type 2 diabetes. So I am actually not familiar with what you're talking about.
All right.
There.
And then Darcy, will glyphosate come out as easily with people that have known gene mutations such as MTHFR?
So if your MTHFR gene mutation is malexpressing and shutting down your detoxification pathways because you're not methylating enough, or you're not taking the methylation required so that you can methylate enough and get those detox pathways working, then yes, absolutely. You're going to have a harder time detoxing anything. Anything that would even normally come out of your body more easily is going to have a harder time coming out. And the answer for that is going to be to make sure that you're taking the appropriate amount of methylfolate and or methyl B12. And with the methyl B12, it's important to understand your genes because you need to know if you need to take it orally, sublingually, or transdermally, depending on your genes. And so we can do all of that gene testing and we can help you with that.
All right.
So wonderful. I think we've answered everything. So for those of you who are still on, how was this for you? Raise your hand if you enjoyed this, if this was new and you enjoyed it and you got some inspiration, got an opportunity to kind of see something that helped you feel more confident in your own ability to heal. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And feel free to drop comments in the chat section. Susie, I'm glad that was encouraging. It's important, right? We need that encouragement. We need to encourage ourselves every day. We need to talk beautiful things to ourselves every single day. And we need to speak beautiful things to the people around us and the world every single day. but we all need that for our healing. So thank you. I'm glad that this encouraged you. I'm glad that this motivated you. You deserve to be totally healthy and totally whole. Thank you so much for joining us for today's Inner Circle Live. And we will be joining you again in 2 weeks for the next Inner Circle Live. And stay tuned, because we might be changing the topic. I think I have another case study on perhaps for the next one, but we may be changing that. And whatever it is, it's going to be riveting, exciting, encouraging, and inspirational for you. I love you so much. We, the entire team at Modern Holistic Health, I know I can speak for all of us. We all love you, and we're here to help you. We're here to be your guides and your mentors, and to partner with you in your healing journey so that you can turn around and you can pass that forward. Thank you so much, and we will talk to you soon. Bye.